Feminism in Color is an exhibition that will explore feminism through the lens of female graffiti writers. Feminism has different meanings for different people. In the 1970s, when I was growing up, it was defined by the women's liberation movement. One of its champions was Gloria Steinem. The women of color that raised me felt that this movement excluded them. Today, as feminism is being defined in the era of #MeToo, some believe that women of color are still being excluded. Feminism in Color is primarily focused on graffiti, but will draw upon the rap element in context of graffiti and feminism. This exhibit will do this through the following components. The beginning. The rap element of hip-hop, and ironically in terms of the misogyny present in it, was commercialized by a woman. The exhibition will start with the trajectory of the mother of hip-hop, Sylvia Robinson, from being half of the famous 1950s duo Mickey and Sylvia to her 1970s incarnation with the soul classic Pillow Talk, to music mogul that brought hip-hop mainstream when her record label, Sugar Hill Records, released Rapper's Delight in 1979. Her story in and of itself is a lesson in feminism, so it is fitting to begin this exhibit with her story. The 90s. The 1990s was to many the pinnacle of hip-hop music. Women in hip-hop were coming into their own in terms of empowerment, evidenced by artists like Salt-N-Pepa and Queen Latifah, whose lyrics spoke to feminist issues and female empowerment. The graffiti work presented here will also reflect that female empowerment. The 1990s was indeed a decade of female empowerment. But to start our look at graffiti, we'll go back to the 1970s, particularly through the work of one pioneering woman known as Lady Pink. Lady Pink navigated this male-dominated space in New York City in the 1970s while maintaining her own sense of feminism. Two Fly is a New York graffiti artist who started tagging in the 1990s when she was a teenager. Like Lady Pink, who was her inspiration and later her mentor, she was one of very few girls in the graffiti scene, which was still a male-dominated system that was dominated by crews and turf disputes. She had to be assigned walls, and being a girl, she was always seen as not worthy of prime wall space. She met Lady Pink later in her career, who created a space where she and other young female artists could practice their craft outside of the testosterone-laden crew system. Her signature character is influenced by who she is and what she has experienced. She evolved from what Two Fly describes as a hip-hop girl with door knocker earrings to the girl with feathers in her hair, warrior paint marks, and wears native cultural patterns, influenced by her moving back to her native Ecuador and connecting with her cultural roots. Feminism in Color will be a traveling exhibit that seeks to show how women define each other through their art globally. The countries that this exhibit will travel to are not determined by the regions themselves, but by the artists of interest in these countries. Vinnie Graffiti is a French street artist. Much of her work is depictions of Black women with accentuated natural hair. My research did not reveal many interviews in English. Although most of Graffiti's images are of women with brown skin, none of the interviews spoke of her motivation. In terms of the inspiration for her characters and their appearance, the articles that I found about her did not reference the brown skin and the obvious afro sported by these characters. The afro was merely described as stylized. Senegalese graffiti artist Dieynaba Sidibe's stated goal is to empower women. Her biggest obstacle in the early 2000s when she began her journey as a graffiti artist came from her mother, who believed that women should not paint and that she should become a doctor instead. Fortunately, she won that fight and with the support of her family, practices her art to draw attention to women's rights and social issues. Graffiti is an element of hip hop that, while becoming accepted as a legitimate art form, has still not been fully explored for its cultural relevance. Women have been at the forefront of hip hop since the beginning, including in its visual expression as taggers and writers. My hope is that this exhibit will help young women to define what feminism is and how it can empower them.